Okay. We're here. We made it. It's Tuesday. If you guys are worried about the internet cutting out today, guess what? So am I. I'm a little scared. Okay. For those of you that joined us on Sunday, we had a little glitch here. The internet cut out and then it came back, so we were good. But if it happens, if it happens again, hey, that's part of life. We'll make it work. We'll make the show happen. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, joining. If you're catching it on the rewind later, hope this is a good show. We usually have a lot of fun with this one. The chat gets really involved with it. So it is keep, sell, buy. Just remember, all opinions are our own. That's just the way the game goes. But yeah, so today we have a special guest. So I'm excited to introduce him, fellow Canadian. So I kind of gives it away on who. And if you're following me on Instagram, well, you exactly know who it is. But let's bring in the original crew first. First up, we've got Mr. FaceTime. What's going on, Face?
What's going on, man? How's it?
It's going good. Guys, if you guys haven't checked out, Face has a show previously on. It's every Monday at 7 p.m. And Face, you did something kind of cool this week. You want to talk about that, or you just want to keep it a secret until next week's show?
No, I mean, yeah, we had a little a giveaway on the last show. We gave away one of the Power Rangers 1 in 500 comics. Free Key Louie won it, so
1 in
went to a good home.
Man, that's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So if you guys don't know, now you know. You have no excuses. FaceTime, Keys, and Hyper, they do their thing on Monday, so make sure you guys go check it out on FaceTime's channel. And sadly, we are not going to be joined by Mr. Hyper or Mr. Key Issues. I want to take this time to say happy birthday to Mr. Key Issues. It is his birthday today, so I know he's not working, but I know he's got other things going on right now, so
right.
He's not going to be on it. And then Hyper, he's going through some allergy issues. It is that time of year, so he's just dealing with that. So I didn't have to. I had this scheduled. I wanted to bring in my guy, one of my favorite people. I consider him a friend, all the way from the West Coast. You guys might know him as Mr. Vancouver Comic Junkie. I know him as Chris, but here he is.
How you doing, guys?
What's up, man?
Not too much. Just sitting on the left coast and hanging out.
On the left coast, yeah. Hey, you know what? We finally got good weather. Face, you probably got it too, right? Being on the East Coast, but we got like 28 degrees today. It was like beautiful.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty nice here.
Yeah, it was really nice. I finally got to put away like my jeans and pants. God damn it. I got my shorts out, so I'm ready.
Are you shorts and sandals kind of guy for the whole summer?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I'm so American, man. So like,
it's one of the reasons I live in Vancouver is I could wear shorts like literally year round. Like at Christmas, I could wear shorts and not die in the weather. So it's kind of nice. It's a little nippy.
See, here in Ontario, we have like 2.5 months of good weather, and then it's back to like coats and and boots. So
move to the coast, man.
Here's what it is. It's always funny because when people get like their tires changed for like all season or winter, it's like, what do you mean you like? I always laugh at people that take their winter tires off for like 2 months, and then they pay like it's just crazy. But
yeah, you only do that here if you go into the mountains to go skiing. It's like a choice. Like you don't have to, which is nice. That's why our real estate's so expensive, I guess. So
I see Hood Rat saying shorts and sandals 24/7, 7 days a week in San Diego. Of course, man. If I was in San Diego,
I wouldn't wear a shirt.
My kid would come out in sandals and shorts already. That's
totally. Yeah, I actually envy all those Americans to be able to do that. Yeah.
Well, guys, today's going to be a fun show, so let's get it started. First up, we got a few friends that we need to talk about. So first up, we've got Big B Comics. They got 3 stores, 1 in Niagara, 1 in Hamilton, and 1 in Barrie. You guys know that I rep the 1 in Niagara, but they have their Instagram and Facebook open. They always post their pops, comics, whatever you need. Shipping is really fast. And if you're in the States, don't worry, they ship to the States as well. They got their eBay page right there as well. Next up, we got My Presser, Bleecker Street Comics, $10 a press, $5 a clean. If you're in Southern Ontario, take advantage. Also, guys, use code word newbiecomics, #1, get 10% off. You're asking where? Well, go to the website, bleekerstreetcomics.com. He's got about 2,000 to 3,000 books there. Make sure you go check him out. Support the guy. And if you need a logo, an intro, whatever the case may be, ask Derek at Shape State Creative. Tell him Newbie sent you. They'll take care of you. And finally, I'm not going to jinx it this time, but Mutant Beaver Comics ships anywhere, okay? Anywhere. So if you're a country that I might have mentioned on Sunday, rather, and that's why my internet cut out, I apologize, but hey, they ship there too. Mars, Jupiter, wherever. Mutant Beaver Comics, use code word Newbie10.
I think that was probably Hyper's fault.
Yeah, that was Hyper. But these guys ship everywhere really well. Packaged, good guys. Make sure you check them out. Again, code word Newbie10, 10% off. All right. Before we get started, let's go to the chat real quick. Hyper's not here to do the road call, so I'll just do it really quickly. Jay, what's going on, man? You got the gold medal. Renos, fellow Canadian, going with the silver. Comic Dude, bronze. Another Canadian. It's just Canadian after Canadian. We've got Andres. Moon Knight, what's going on, Michelle? How you doing? Hey, what's going on? We got Team Nerd Herd here.
Nerdy Father.
Yeah.
Nice.
The comic sheesh. I might have butchered that, but hey, I apologize. Who else is in here? David, PSA cards. What's going on, guys? I hope you guys are in for a good show. Nerdy Father, a fellow Canadian out west. Chris, you know him.
Oh, yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, more than me.
Yeah. I just bought a book off him, actually. It's sitting right here. I'll show everyone. Where is it? Oh, here it is. He knows this book.
Oh, yeah. 3.0. Yeah. That's a good book to have. Good book to have. Nice. HMJ says, big shoes to fill for Comic Junkie. By the end of last week's show, Newbie asked the guest to be his best friend.
Who was the guest?
It was David Wilson. The
oh, yeah.
And you don't know, maybe he's my best friend already. So, we'll see. Tim, what's going on? Did I miss Newbie's Red Sonya Uncanny Day. So guys, as you guys come in, I always like to shout you guys out and give you guys some love, but we're ready to start the show. So you guys know what it is. Keep, sell, buy. Sometimes I think it's very interesting to get other people's opinions on some stuff, because as the owners of certain books, we might just have it's got to be, I have to keep it, or I believe in this. And sometimes it's nice and a good way to get other information on some books. So this is why we do it. And it is a fun show. So, it's cool. I love having, and Chris, don't get mad, but I love having older and experienced guys on here, because you have probably meeting faces.
Damn.
No, but
Jesus Christ. Like farting dust over here.
You've got more experience than me in face together. So it is sometimes cool to see like where a book that we might post, like where you see it and how it goes. So it's kind of interesting, those dynamics. I'm
like the Gandalf of comics. Is that what you're saying?
I'm going to stop talking.
It's all good. It's all good. I got to go massage my prostate soon.
All right, guys. So let's get the show started. Oh, geez. I'm a little red now. All right. Keep, sell, buy. Let's get it going. Oh, Chef, what's going on, man? I almost missed it live.
Hey, did you see Swaggle did a version of this? But it was like, he started off like, you've heard that joke of fuck, marry, kill. Well, I'm kind of doing that with some comics here. And it was kind of like a keep, sell, buy. It was pretty funny, man, that he started it that way.
Yeah, anyway. I gotta check that out. No, I didn't see that.
It was pretty funny, yeah. It was a couple of weeks ago. He's a great guy. I like that guy.
Yeah, I like Swaggle. I like Swaggle. Yeah, experienced knowledge. Yes, that's the angle I was going for. So
I think that is great, Mr. Loretta.
Dan is on Palm Springs. He told me that he might not be live for the show because he was golfing, and I was like, man, I'm so jealous. But Dan, thanks for finding some time to tune in, man. All right, let's get the show. So here's how we'll do it. I will go first. Face, you will go second, and Chris, you will go third, because you are our guest. You can have the last word. And let's get the show on the road. First book up. New Gods #1, first appearance of Orion. Let's face it, this is a book that a lot of people were specking on. A lot of people were buying up simply because there was a movie. However, the spec crashed because the movie was canceled, right? They said they weren't going to do it. Does that mean they never do it? Who knows? But definitely a good time to buy if you really, 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 really believe in it, because the dip has already happened in, say, the last 2 months. Raw copies are selling anywhere between $80 and $200. The $200, as you can see from that last line, so the last CGC sold was a 7.5 for 180 Canadian. So you know that those raws going for 200 are probably in near mint 9.6 category, somewhere around there. Honestly, I've never really been big on this book. Even when there was the movie news, like this wasn't one of those books that I kind of like was like, oh, I need to have. Even for like the flip purpose, it was definitely a book that I was like, okay, missing out on. It's almost like that Lobo book, right? The first appearance of him. Like if it came my way and it was really well priced, definitely grab it. But this one just never really came my way, and I'm okay with it. For me, this is probably a keep solely because you're not gonna get a lot of money, especially if the movie is canceled, which it is. I just don't see there being enough. You know, I don't see there being enough reward, so you might as well just keep it instead of giving it away for nothing, because who knows when they could come back for this, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess it just kind of depends on, you know, where you stand in possession of this book. Like, if you don't own it, like for instance, I don't have this actually. It would be a good time for me to try and buy it because, you know, it is on the low end. So, with the, you know, the movie not panning out, or at least for now, and everything like that. It's definitely a cool book to have. It's, you know, classic Jack Kirby and everything like that. So yeah, it's definitely a buy if you don't have it, and you want to add it to your collection. But as far as like for spec purposes, yeah, there's probably not a whole lot of reason to pick it up or anything like that. So yeah,
I'm surprised you don't have it, Face. I thought for sure
I know, right?
You have it. Like, and that's you know, like joking aside, like I really genuinely thought that you actually had this book. So
yeah, I mean, it's one of the types of books that I usually would have in my collection. I just haven't picked up a copy yet, to be honest.
Well, you'll probably be able to find a lot coming soon. So
yeah, right, exactly.
All right, Chris, our special guest. Where do you see that? What do you see in this book?
I think Face is on the mark. I think it's a good time to buy this book over the next 6 months. The reason I say this is it's got a lot going for it. It's a Kirby, classic Kirby. Eventually, they are going to lean into this with the DC universe and for movies. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Eternals totally, like, I don't think they ever intended to make this movie. Quite frankly, I think they were doing it simply to see who could get a movie like this made first. But Eternals is this movie for Marvel, and it just blew this out of the water. They could never.
They had casting though for this.
Yeah, they do that in Hollywood all the time, but it's like it just never. They probably literally spent millions of dollars on it, and it just never went anywhere. Like at the end of the day, the people who have the final say, the accountants, just they couldn't add the numbers up and have it make sense based off of the competition. So saying that though, all it's going to take is a little bit of time and a little bit of, DC doing the right moves, which I don't know if they will. And, this could easily start turning up in movies within 3 or 4 years. These characters, they're fascinating characters. They're great characters. They're Kirby characters. And quite frankly, even if you throw all the the DC universe aside and movies aside, this is like classic Kirby stuff from the 70s. Like if you're a true collector, I truly believe you should own this book. It's one of those, if you like DC. I personally am not the biggest DC guy, but I own this book. I have like a 9.4 copy, and I bought it years ago. It was just something I love. This Commandi, all his DC stuff was great. So I think in the next 6 months you should buy it.
Do you think after DC or rather Marvel does the Eternals and we, a little bit after that movie, do you think that DC is like, okay, whoa, maybe we can kind of copy it. We can kind of.
I think they're going to find another angle to it. So like, I think the Eternals, because I mean, technically Eternals was going to be, from what I heard, was going to be Kirby's version of finishing the New God storyline. But he was going to do it at Marvel with like kind of new characters. That was the idea. And because he was so pissed off at DC for ending New Gods. And so they're very similar. I think they'll do it, but they got to have to see Eternals first so they can find a new slant on it visually.
Yeah.
And because they can't just copy it, right? So that's just my theory. I'm going to throw it on the table. I would pick this book up before, like, around Christmas this year, because it's going to be completely in the pits by then. No one gives a shit about this book.
Exactly. And
if you could get it for $80 and it's like a VF to 9.0 copy, I think it's the steal of the century.
Yep. Right. And this is what we, I say we, but like, when you listen to people who talk about big books or spec or anything like that, you always want to buy it on the dip. And this is where you want to get this, right?
Yeah, that was totally dipping.
Nobody's arguing that, it's a garbage book or anything like that. It's Jack Kirby. It is, iconic.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, this is definitely when you want to buy it, because let's face it, all books have a dip, right?
Deadpool had a dip for 3 years, and now it's like all of a sudden it's interesting again.
Yeah.
But you could have bought those for $700 in 9.8.
Yeah.
Like somewhat recently. So
I think it was like Christmas time, somewhere around there. It was literally going for like an insane. And then if you actually look, like a week after the announcement of the movie being canceled, it was like nothing close.
Well, and also too, we all keep in mind right now the market, as we talked about, is drunk. The market is drunk, and all these prices are so far over the moon right now. Why not go after stuff you can actually afford? And this is really good stuff. Like, there's all the horror, like DC horror stuff. There's a lot of DC good stuff. I'm not personally, I still like, I mean, there is good stuff. I don't travel, down the Superman line or any of that kind of stuff. I just don't care. But if you go hunting in there, there's a lot of cheap keys that are really great by great artists. So yeah, keep your eyes open.
Well, I guess
DC does have a lot of good stuff. It's just the problem is it doesn't tend to transfer over to the movies very well.
Yeah, exactly, Fizz.
So for this one, it's a hold, it's a buy. Definitely be on the lookout for this one.
Yeah.
Next book, we got a book that, to be honest, I don't even know where it is right now. But we got Tales of Suspense 159. This one got super hot once the first appearance of Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine showed up. This is also the first appearance of Jacob Fury, so the younger brother to Nick, who becomes Scorpio, who then later becomes Kraken. So I hope you can keep up. She appeared in The Falcon and Winter Soldier, and there was none on eBay when I looked. Now, again, I did this a few weeks ago. I believe I usually do these when the question pops in my head. So this is probably a book that came about when she arrived on the show. I'm sure if I went on eBay right now, there is a few copies. I wouldn't doubt it, especially now with the show being over and her not really doing anything. I know when she showed up, everybody was going nuts thinking, oh my God, Thunderbolts and this and that, and maybe Red Hulk and maybe Omega Red and Wolverine. I heard it all. It didn't pan out. She's going to be around, but in what capacity, we don't know. This is another book that is probably seeing a dip right now. Me personally, I mean, I'd probably hold on to it if you can only get like a few bucks for it. I wouldn't spend more than $25 to $30 Canadian on this book, and that's even in high grade. So for me, it's probably a hold or sell. I wouldn't be buying this book right now. I don't think it's going to be a mega key or anything like that. Even though they got Elaine from Seinfeld to play the role, I don't know. I don't see the longevity of it, but who knows?
Yeah, I think this one's probably a little bit more tricky than the last one because it may be hitting a little bit of a dip right now with the Falcon and Winter Soldier series ending and her not having done a whole lot. But the fact that they just kind of brought her in for that last second cameo sort of tells you that there's probably going to be more coming from her. So, it might have a little bit of a dip right now, but it probably won't be real huge. Man, I think I'd probably still go ahead and stay away from this one, thinking that the prices are still going to be kind of high on it, being as she's still sitting in everyone's head for the moment. We haven't gotten anything new yet to take that place yet. So I'd still avoid it for now, just because it's going to be at the higher the price that you'd get it.
Face, do you remember what when she showed up, like the next day, this book was CGC copies were just coming out of nowhere, and they were like in the $200 to $400 range Canadian. It just got
it was nuts overnight.
Yeah. Chris, you're up, man.
Oh, I'm up. Yeah, I was zoned out there. I say buy. I don't say buy today. I'd say buy in the summer, like as this gets more forgotten. My reason being is they hired someone very interesting to play a role who actively petitioned to be in that role, which tells me there's a big future. If you go looking into the character, pretty fucking interesting. Hydra, Red Skull, big storylines, big future. Keep in mind, Marvel takes their time with these stories. This has the potential. She has the potential to be one of the big villains of the next 10 years. And I think people are looking at it as just a little. I think people are not paying enough attention to this book, quite frankly. I'm surprised it didn't go higher, quite frankly. But it was just a little cameo, so I get it. But yeah, I would buy this book and buy them raw. I'd pay much more than $25. I'd try and get like a 9.2 or a 9.4. I'd pay $300 or $400 for it at this stage because they're like $2,000. Like they're expensive. Like I'll tell you, it's funny because I never do this, but like on Disney Plus was playing that episode where she showed up. I had my phone open for some reason, and I literally saw her, and I'm like, holy shit! And she said her name, and I looked up like who she was, and I'm like, I didn't know her first appearance. And then I went on eBay, and I ended up buying like 4 copies of this, like right off the bat, like boom, 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 and just bought them. And they're all like $25, $22. Like, and they were nice grades, like VF and higher. And the next morning, I went to bed, and the next morning I wake up, and every single one of them sent me an email like, "Hey man, sorry, I can't find my copy." Oh, and they canceled every single, but they all had some stupid excuse, which was utter bullshit. Yeah. And I kind of played with them a bit, but because I
can't find it, even though like up until this point, I knew exactly where it was. Oh my god!
Yeah, I personally think this book has a huge future, and I would definitely keep it if you had it, and I would buy one, but not today. I'd buy it in a few months.
You know, I'm interested to hear your point because I think I brought this up to my guys. You know, Hype, Face, and Keys. This book reminds me a lot of that Fantastic Four '94, right?
Same book. No, I believe in that book too.
Yeah,
for the future, she's going to be a big part of the next like 5 years. Like she has to. She's going to be like the mentor to Wanda. I guarantee it.
And you got to remember too, she is the babysitter for Franklin Richards.
Boom. She's got a future.
So
yeah. And I think Chris is really, you know, he hit on the head there. Probably in another couple months would be one, and you'd want to start taking a look at this again, especially once the Loki series starts and everything like that, and it starts distracting people away from, you know, the Falcon and Winter Soldier. This will drop even more, and you'll be able to pick it up again for a pretty reasonable price.
Yeah. Awesome Rat is saying, assuming she is Nick Fury's counterpart, how has Nick Fury's first appearance performed over the years? Maybe that would be an indication on how this book will perform. You guys got to remember, though, first appearance of Nick Fury was at the end of Iron Man, I believe it was, and he shows up. Once that happened, it did spike a little bit, and then as he progressed and as because Iron Man was the first one, right? So as the other things started connecting, that one has always been up there. It's always been a pricey book to begin with. But I mean, Samuel L. Jackson is turning like 80 or something like that. So, you know, how long can he do it? But I get what you're trying to say with looking at how this could be interpreted and where the value could be 100%.
If you want to talk Nick Fury, I still think everyone should be picking up Astonishing X-Men 6, first Abigail Brand, with the new show coming. They're situating that show for her to become his replacement. I guarantee it. Because he's old. He's like how old is Sam Jackson? Like 73?
I think he's turning 80.
Yeah, I don't know, he's 80. I think he's in his early 70s, but that's super old for an action star, you know, who just golfs basically. He's not like a workout.
Well, don't forget, he does those credit card commercials like, "What's in your wallet?"
True.
Like,
But his days, unfortunately, are probably somewhat numbered.
Yeah.
For the roles that he's doing, so they have to replace him, and I think Abigail Brand, that character, is going to be the next one.
2007, it's 2021. That's 14 years. 14 years being the character. I know he doesn't show up, 2 hours fully in a movie, every movie, but he has been there. Everybody talks about him. So he's 72, by the way. So early 70s is correct.
So I was right again, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Unless you want to round up.
To 80?
Then he's 75.
That's a hell of a rounding up.
If you're rounding up, then he's 75. But then if you round that up, then he's 80. And then if you round that up, it's 100. And then at that point, he's just old. So
yeah, he's pretty old. I mean, considering I'm old, he's real old.
I'm going to regret that later.
Yeah, you are. Absolutely.
All right. Book number 3. Oof. All right. So we got Hulk 449. I'm pretty sure everyone and their grandmother knows what this is. This is one of the hottest books since that Winter Soldier. Even before that, this thing was popping off like crazy. There was a huge spike in it. So first appearance of Thunderbolts rumored in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but that didn't happen. Strong future possibility ahead. Raw copies were selling anywhere between 120 and 280 Canadian. The last CGC sold was $1,135 Canadian. That was 2 weeks ago. So I'm assuming the price could have gone up or down, but that was the 9.8 high. This one is a little tricky, and this is one that I call one of those regret books, one of those that every time somebody has a picture of like 10 of them, I'm like, it could have been me. Because I remember Niagara Falls Comic-Con in like 2013, there was like 50 of these for like $10, $15. And I was like, nah, I can't really see this happening. I don't know why I didn't pick it up. And now, it's the whole patience thing, right? Like you have to be patient. If you believe in a book, definitely get it on the cheap and you got to be patient. But we all know this is happening. This is coming. If you have it, I would definitely keep it. I wouldn't sell them. I would definitely hold, keep, buy for sure, but just be careful on the price when you're buying them. I'm going to take something that Chris usually says, buy them raw, because you're probably going to save way more money and just grade it yourself. I mean, yeah, it's going to take you 3 years to get it back from CGC, but it's worth it. You're going to save a few bucks, but definitely a book that I would keep in the PC. If you have multiples, I would definitely keep at least 2 in my PC.
Yeah, this is another one that obviously it's going to depend on where you stand in possession of this book, because if you own it and you're looking to sell it, it's a great time to sell. I mean, the prices that they're getting for it are pretty good. And the thing about the Thunderbolts is that it's a cool concept and a cool team that's been to put together and everything like that. It's very kind of Suicide Squad type thing going on, with like sort of the bad guys becoming the heroes or whatever, however you want to look at it. And that concept works for people. The problem, I think, with the Thunderbolts is that there's so many iterations of them out there now. It's kind of like the Suicide Squad, that you don't know exactly what team we will get if we do get them. It's not really going to matter in relation to this book, probably, because once they show up, still first appearance of Thunderbolts, it's still going to pop off and everything like that. But I actually am pretty lucky to have, I think I have 3 of these that I got, whenever they were coming out for cover. So,
well, my birthday's coming up in like a month. So.
Yeah, right?
Saying.
But yeah, I would having it. I would definitely say it's a hold, because you'll obviously want to wait until we get something that where you actually see the Thunderbolts, or we know for sure that they're coming, and that's when you'll see like the best prices to sell. But it's not bad prices for selling right now either.
Yeah.
So
I don't know about this book. I own 3 copies myself. I have a CGC 9.6, which should be at 9.8, God damn it, but CGC didn't see it my way. But anyway,
man, you'll get a 9.8 for sure.
I have 2 going into CGC at the moment, but that I'm pretty sure 9.8s. Saying that, Obviously, I believe in this book. I don't think this book. I don't think the Thunderbolts are as near to us as we think they are. I really don't know if they're like people seem to think they're going to show up at any moment.
Yeah,
and I think this is still years out. Personally, I think people are a little too excited about it. I really do believe that people seeing that last character, Elaine from Seinfeld, and I think people are pointing too many fingers at Thunderbolts with her, and I really don't. And I know why they are, obviously U.S. agent and all that shit, but I really do think there's more of a Hydra component with her that everyone's kind of just ignoring, and I don't know if Thunderbolts is the angle they may be going down.
And not to mention, like, I don't, and this is my opinion, right? But like, I don't think that they're the type. Same with like X-Men, right? Like, I don't think that they're just going to bring in all the X-Men at once and be like, okay, here you go, here are all the X-Men.
No, not at all. No,
I really feel like it's going to be like they did the Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Iron Man, then Captain America, then they all come together. Like, I feel like that's what they would do. Not to say that they would give the Thunderbolt characters their own movies or anything, but I'm just saying that maybe they bring one or two and then like two somewhere else and then together. But
I think the Thunderbolts are excellent as villains for Disney Plus because they could never carry a movie, in my opinion. That's just what I think. I think they'd be an excellent, reasonably priced version of like the anti-Avengers on Disney Plus, and that. But I still think it's years off, personally. I mean, also, sorry, Face.
No, go ahead.
No, I don't even know what I was saying. You go.
I was just say, I agree with you. I do think it is going to be a little bit before we do see them. I actually don't think that Val or whatever you want to call her, I don't think she's going to have anything to do with it either. Like, I think she's going to be more of a Hydra play also.
Yeah.
I would hope that they saw the reception at especially in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series that Daniel Brühl got, and somebody at Marvel was like, you know what? Maybe we should just do the OG Thunderbolts and let him fucking carry a series. Like,
interesting.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's actually
that's the Thunderbolts I want. Yeah, that's the Thunderbolts I want for sure.
If this is something that, you know, and I totally agree with Chris is saying, 100%. Like, I've never really felt like this was it. It kind of surprised me when this thing was going up because of just the way I view things. Like, I never think they're just going to bring everyone in and be like, hey, we're here, let's go. But if, you know, that comes to fruition, this is definitely a book, let's face it. If it's out of sight, out of mind, this book is going to go back away this summer, maybe into the fall, not being teased, because let's face it, I mean, we got Black Widow, we got Loki. I think this whole summer is going to just become this Loki.
Oh, dude, the cosmic stuff?
Yeah.
I got to interrupt you. If you want to buy books right now, I would buy any cosmic character right now, like before Loki hits, because do you know how everyone's specking like on Thunderbolts? Like, honestly, why are they specking on Thunderbolts? Really, it's just because they're the kind of shows that have popped up have linked to it just minorly.
Yeah.
Imagine the links that are going to come up in Loki. It's a cosmic show all over the universe. It's going to blow our minds that way. Yeah. And you know how people overspec? Everyone's just like, they see someone fart and they're like, well, it's the mystical ghost guy that came out of his ass from issue 166 of Fantastic. You know,
it's interesting you say that, because when you look back, right, like I myself included, right, being one of those guys that specs and things like that, like when it came to WandaVision, you just thought, okay, magic, multiverse, like you thought. But then when you came down when you came down to Winter Soldier, you were kind of like at that street level stuff, right? So like there wasn't many angles, so I can see why they went like, oh, Thunderbolts, maybe Omega Red and things like that. But now when you get into Loki, and we know where he is, we know what he did, the fact that he stole the stone, we've seen the trailer. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that we got a 2-minute trailer and he's got like 17 different haircuts. Like, that should tell you something. Multiverse, right? Yeah. You're 100%. Like, now that we're getting into this multiverse and cosmic and all that, this is just, it's going to be fun to spec and see.
To me, the cosmic's my favorite out of anything. That's the stuff I want to see more of. It's just so exciting. It's like, it's for me.
I'm on eBay looking for 164. I think that's the first appearance of Frankie Ray.
It is. I have a 9.6. That is an incredibly. I have 20 copies of that book, I bet, raw. And I don't have one that even goes close to a 9.4. I cannot find that book raw over an 8.0.
It's tough. It's white, right? Yeah, it's white.
It's really hard. And I've talked to dealers about it. Everyone I've talked to, it's like they don't know why. It's an incredibly difficult book to get in high grade. And you can get all the other books around it in high grade. I mean, I was lucky to get a 9.6, but
that comment though, that what Spider likes says to me is that 244 when Frankie Ray becomes what is it? Shoot, Nova is like super priced. I remember talking about that book, and that book was like $10 to $20 max, and now
$1,000,
$1,000, and it's like what?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. Well, next book we got up is, and Face, this is one of the books you want to talk about, but we got Power Man 48. Excuse me. This is the first meeting of Iron Fist and Luke Cage. This, in my opinion, I'm interested to see what Face says. In my opinion, it's 100% undervalued. Luke Cage will be big, no pun intended. Raw copies sell anywhere between 65 and 200, and the last CGC sold was a 9.6 for $280. Team-ups don't necessarily mean like tens of thousands of dollars, but team-ups usually do mean something, especially in today's market. So I could definitely see this one getting higher. You know that they kind of go together. Me personally, I think that they will revisit Luke Cage. I think they will revisit Iron Fist done properly. Because let's face it, I mean, I thought the last show was horrible, especially now when we're getting these Shang-Chi movies and how that looks. If they were to somehow make Iron Fist do that stuff, I think it would catch on. So I think that there's big potential for this book. I would keep it, but I'd also go looking for it raw. A lot of people might not know what they have in this, right? So I know that it's out there because I've seen some in the wild, just never really in good condition near me. But this one's definitely a hold and a buy if it comes to you cheap.
Yeah, I agree. This one's looking at the, especially looking at the prices, that are on this book. It's a buy. For me, I think they're definitely going to revisit Power Man and Iron Fist, given that they've already said that they're going to bring back Jessica Jones, Daredevil and Punisher, but they're staying away from Iron Fist and Power Man is kind of revealing in itself. Iron Fist was pretty bad on Netflix, and people were not fans of that casting at all.
That's an understatement. It makes sense. Bad. Let's come on. Be real. Come on.
Yeah, but and it makes sense that they would recast him. But the thing is, Luke Cage wasn't all that bad, and Mike Coulter, people seem to like Mike Coulter as Luke Cage. So the recasting of him, I think, is what's most revealing about it. And it just, the fact that they're doing them both like this, I don't know. It kind of looks like that maybe they want to do a Power Man and Iron Fist series and put those two guys together after they, develop this martial arts aspect of the Marvel universe a little further. So yeah, it's pretty cheap. So yeah, why not? I definitely buy and hold.
Well, you know how I feel about Hero for Hire. I have like 4 copies of issue 1, and I got a bunch of Iron Fist's first appearance because those Netflix shows, it was so tragically sad to see what they did with those shows. They even cast like Nick Cage fairly well. I mean, we can all agree he was great, but the show was just a piece of dog shit. And anyway, I've personally believe they're coming back, no question. These are too strong a characters not to come back. I think there'll be Disney Plus type stuff that tip into movies on occasion as characters that secondary appearance stuff in the features. But I think they're gonna have a strong presence in Disney Plus universe. Saying that, this is a cool book. This is a super cool book for comic nerds. But I honestly, if people have a limited budget and they need to go after certain keys for these things, this would be like one of the last ones I'd go for. But it's a cool book. I think it's cool, and honestly, it probably does have an upside to it. I don't know what to say on this. I personally would probably pass on it and focus on other things.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of them. I just think that with both of these characters probably being recast and probably getting, you know, reintroduced, whatever that looks like.
It's gonna be big. It'll be big when
it could be, especially with the Shang-Chi. I think, you know, once the Shang-Chi stuff trailer came out, I think a lot of us were like, oh, okay, well, you know, because I remember talking to a few people and they were like, why didn't they do Iron Fist like that? Like, why? And
I gotta ask, did you like the Shang-Chi trailer? Was it a
it took so
that tells me there's hesitancy.
Here's
because that's how I feel.
Well,
did you?
It was good.
Yeah.
Face, you've heard me say this, right? Like, it's one of those where like I'm on the fence because one, we haven't seen anything like this, so human nature, it's like, you know, our bodies, our mind, it's to keep us safe, right? So what I mean by that is like it's something new. So I'm kind of like on the fence of allowing myself to be like, okay, it's going to be good. Like, I think once I see it, I'm going to be like, it's good. But just because we've never seen something like that yet, there's that little bit of doubt, right? And it happens. But I have no doubt that, you know, martial arts, the Asian community, like this thing is just going to go nuts. Like,
I agree. No, I think potentially it could be awesome. There's something about the look of this show that just seems so blah. Like to me, I don't know what it is, but it's not exciting to me. But I love Shang-Chi. I love Shang-Chi. I can't wait to see it. But yeah, the trailer didn't do anything for me, unfortunately.
I didn't even know I was watching, like, and this is why I said because like,
or it could have been Mortal Kombat or it could have been the new, or it looks just like the G.I. Joe trailer. I mean, they all look the same.
Yes, right there. That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, it took me a while until I got to the end where I was like, oh, right. Yeah, this is like until the Shang-Chi thing came out. And they're like, Marvel. I was like, oh, right. Yeah, this is comics. This is, even though I knew that going into the trailer, it just took me a while for my brain to be like, oh, yeah, this is a Marvel movie. Because
it's Marvel. It's Marvel. We could all agree. There's not a lot of bad Marvel stuff. No. Like, generally, even when it's the worst Marvel stuff is like better than most DC stuff. You know, it's like it's gonna be good. We all know it. So
big shout outs to
and the thing is, those trailers are.
I was going to say, shout out to Pressable Defects doing their thing. If you guys don't know who they are, now you know. You got no excuses. They just dropped a new video. Go
those
check
guys rule. Yeah, they're my favorite channel. Next year's newbie.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing is, you know, those trailers they're meant to sell movies. So I thought Shang-Chi, I thought the trailer looked great, but it is a trailer, man. So you know, we could be seeing the best 2 minutes of the whole movie right there. So
God, don't say that.
It's entirely possible. There's been a lot of trailers out there that made some shitty movies look decent until you get to the theater and you're like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah.
These are
I think it's going to be one of those years, like the next year and a half. I think it's going to be one of those things where, like, you know, we're getting Eternals, we're getting Shang-Chi, we're getting, you know, like we're getting all this stuff that we've never, you can't compare it to anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be the first of its kind. So it's just going to be, I think it's going to be really good. I can't wait for some of this stuff. But yeah, the Shang-Chi stuff, I'm interested to see what it looks like for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So this one was one that the chat wanted to talk about last time we did this. And again, because of certain, and not in a bad way, but we had certain guests and I wanted to do certain shows with, you know, certain people. We didn't get to do Keep Sell Buy and regular scheduled time. So it's been about a month and a half since the last time we did one of these, but this is one that a lot of people were saying. So we got Iron Man 54, first appearance of Moondragon, Shang-Chi appearance, maybe. Last CGC sold was an 8.0 at $335 Canadian, but there was also a 9.0 that sold for 553 Canadian, best offer. So not sure that it sold for 550, but it's probably safe to say it probably went north of 400. I mean, obviously I'm biased to this. It's an Iron Man one. I would love to have this in my PC, just never really got the chance to. I've never come across this book. When you look at those prices, I play that compare game. There are a lot more, I won't say better, but there are a lot more books out there in that price range or even less than that I feel have more potential. So for those reasons, I've never really got this book. And unless it comes my way, I don't really plan on getting this, but it's tough. Being the Iron Man guy, I mean, obviously I say keep, but if you can make a quick buck and get a really good amount back, why not sell it? No,
Before I even jump into anything else about this, I just want to point out how fucking outlandish this issue is. I just look at this, you guys. It's an Iron Man book, and he's fighting Namor on the cover, who's an underwater character. That shit don't make sense for Iron Man to begin with a Shang-Chi appearance.
Yeah,
and the first appearance of fucking Moondragon. They have hit every corner of the Marvel fucking universe with this book. This one single book has hit every corner. It's wow.
I didn't know that it went for this much, to be honest with you. Like when I was doing some of the research on this, and again, I'm the Iron Man guy, so you would think I always make fun of this run, even though it is like my favorite character. I always make fun of the run being weak. And here you have, Moondragon selling for, north of $400 or $500. It's just, yeah.
But the thing is, like, she's a tough one too, because she's not the biggest. She's not the biggest character by any means. She is a cosmic character, and she does have that going for her, because, like Chris said earlier, I think also that they're going to lean heavily into the cosmic stuff. And she definitely plays a part into that. The thing that I think would concern me the most about her right now and this book is just the most recent comments that came out from Dave Bautista saying that he's not going to be coming back to play Drax again, and she's tied pretty heavily to Drax. So they might have to, unless they're going to recast Drax, they might have to come up with a new origin for her or something like that.
Wait, he's not going to be in the new one? Is that?
No, he'll be in the new one.
He's playing in the third one. I'm saying that's the last time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that makes me want to grab the book because of what you just said.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, it's an interesting one, but I definitely don't think I would sell it right now, because I think there's a lot of potential to see her with the cosmics.
Well, I mean, I don't know. If you got a good deal on it, I would flip it. But yeah, I get what you're saying 100%.
Yeah. Although, it's just like the Shang-Chi appearance, I think that kind of hurts it as far as price, with Shang-Chi being, high right now. Yeah. Everything like that. People might be looking for anything Shang-Chi, but I'm not sure if that's a huge drawing point for this book at all. So, you might be able to find a copy that somebody doesn't know that they, what it is exactly, and you can find a deal on it. So,
yeah, I feel like when you think Iron Man, especially that run, the books most people always pull out of the run is 155,
128.
Yeah,
128. That's the iconic one. Yeah, the alcohol one.
But there's like six keys in the whole run. It's like the
worst
run ever.
282, and that's it, right? Like there's not any. So yeah, a lot of people might be sleeping on it. And I'm not saying take advantage of people selling collections, but this one could be in one of those runs, because a lot of people don't necessarily know what this one is, right? It's not the sexiest cover, just like Face said. You got fucking Namor there fighting Iron Man. Like, it's just.
I disagree. I think that's an awesome cover. That's like, to me, that is the 70s right there. It's a window box cover, black cover. Oh, it is. Which makes it harder to get. It's got Namor fight. I don't know. I think, honestly, I'm just gonna throw it on the table. I think you're a fucking idiot for selling this book right now. I'm just gonna throw it on the table and come at me if you want. I truly believe that. I think this book has huge upside. I think everyone's forgetting about the Guardians of the Galaxy is only a year and a half away. Mm-hmm. That show always rules whenever it shows up. Yep. People are forgetting about all the Guardians of the Galaxy characters right now. You should be buying the shit out of those things right now, because they're cheap as shit. No one gives a crap about them. And everyone's going to, all of a sudden, everyone's going to care. And everyone's going to be like, why didn't I buy those? Like, just like, remember when that happened to Deadpool 6 months ago? It's the same thing with this. It's going to be the exact same thing. And I think Moondragon has a lot of potential as well with Drax. If it is true that Drax is leaving, I don't know if that's true, but it could.
Right? I really hope it's not.
I hope it's not too. I quite like his character, but it does sound like they're kind of sewing up that storyline, that there's like a trilogy to it. And if that is the case, that could be really nice. But there'll be more Guardians, and there's a very strong chance she'll be one of them. There's a lot of potential to this character. I think this book, actually, oddly enough, a 9.0 just sold on Sunday for $700 US. So it's going up, man. So I would grab this book quick before it's too much. So that's what I'm saying. So there you go. Don't be a fucking idiot.
Man. I wish my science teacher told me that. I would have just paid more attention in high school. Jeez. All right. Next book. I believe this one was Hyper's pick. So we got Death Vader. Oh my God. Wow.
There we go. Classic.
Darth Vader #3. First appearance of Dr. Aphra. Future of Star Wars. I mean, this thing has exploded. Obviously, there's Face, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's 3 prints, correct?
Shit, there might be more than that now. I don't even know.
I know there's like green and red and all that. Yeah.
I think there's 3 official.
3 official? Okay. So yeah, so raw copies, 100 to 250 Canadian. Again, this was like 2 weeks ago. The last CGC sold was $650 Canadian. I think one hit 800 by now, if I'm not mistaken. All in, I think it got to 800, but I believe it's around that one. Face, I don't really know much about Star Wars except for the fact that I know if you have this is probably a hold, especially in those high grades. I think, you know, it is a modern book, so you tend to want to just have 9.6, 9.8. This one definitely just hold it, and that's coming from a guy who does not know anything about Star Wars. So I'm going to pass it on to Face because he knows way more than me.
Oh, fuck. So she's an awesome character. The only drawback to this book is it's already a huge fucking price tag. But even with that big price tag, it's kind of like one of those things. If you can still grab it now, you know, or whatever, buy it. Yeah, because there's a good chance that she's gonna show up. I mean, her popularity has been enormous, and Disney, you know, and Lucasfilm and everything has already seen that. There's already been rumblings towards Chloe Bennett possibly playing Dr. Aphra in the live action, which seems like a pretty likely move from Disney and Marvel. They do like to kind of keep stuff in house, and Chloe Bennett's got a track record with them, so it makes sense. She's got the right look. Then again, they could go completely, you know, to a completely different actress and, you know, get somebody to work. But her being the leading candidate right now, I think she works for the part and everything. Yeah, I think it's only going to be a matter of time before we see Dr. Aphra. People love her. And Marvel and Disney, they know how to capitalize on that shit, so they'll bring her into live action soon.
I got one thing to say about this book. Sorry, I'm just being a dick. I think this is the most overspec book going. I really do.
Look at that price tag, man.
It's fucking ridiculous. Just I look at this character as sure. I mean, sure, it could be in the Lucasfilm world at some point, I guess. But why? Why this character? Why this character?
Yeah.
Why is it? And there's no link to Lucasfilm so far. Like, no one said, like, there's no leak, like they really have cast anyone. It's all hearsay bullshit, right? And it's which, I mean, hey, the MCU's like that too, and we've all spec'd on it, and I get it. But my gut says that if this character is going to be in the Star Wars universe, I don't think it's anytime soon at all. Like, I think it's years away. I think they have so many other characters to play with. And you got to look at one of the guys leading the charge for this stuff is like Dave Filoni. Mm-hmm. And he has incredible ties to a certain aspect of the Star Wars universe. You should be probably going after the stuff that he's more related to see what's going to be brought into the live action arena. And I don't think he's really... Sorry?
If and when they do bring this one in, they'll do it. It'll probably be different than everybody thinks too.
I think so
Probably
too.
won't like they'll just get a series or anything like that. They'll do because they seem to have this trend right now of doing these cameos, and that's probably like what you're saying. That's probably what they'll do with her if anything. They might cameo her, and then you still have a while to wait before you get like an actual series or anything.
I love what Eddie's mullet said. Spectards are good as Spectard. I like that.
I mean, she is a cool character if you're into Star Wars and everything
absolutely,
like that.
Absolutely,
she's cool. But man, that fucking $600 for a wow,
it's crazy. It's crazy. I think it's over. That's why I think it's over spec. Saying that, based off of how people spec these days, it's probably cheap right now. People are just crazy. Like and they're really everyone's on the Dr. Aphra train, and they're not letting go. So why not?
Yeah,
that's the worst part.
Yeah,
is that it may actually be cheap.
Yeah, it might be cheap right now, and the way it goes. So I guess I would say if you had it, hold it. I guess is really what I'm personally not going to go buy it. I'm not going to lie. I've missed out on a lot of these Star Wars specs myself. So.
It's hard, man. And it seems like and every Star Wars person or like most of the people collecting these days will always tell you like, hey, it's New Comic Book Day. There's a Star Wars book. Just get it, right? Like that's basically what everybody will say. And it's tough, man. I mean, because like Face said, there's so many new characters that come and go, but like they sometimes just show a cameo. And Chris, to your point, sometimes it doesn't even connect. It's like
at all.
It could be so many years away, which leads me to go back to what I usually say.
You know what's funny about just before the Skywalker movie, the last Skywalker movie came out, a friend of mine was on Facebook and he kind of theorized like towards his friends, like what he thought the next movie was going to be. Somebody read that. And then I saw leaks, like fake leaks on it was either 4chan or Reddit somewhere that they basically were leaking his ideas onto it. And they were crazy. Like they were like pretty crazy, and they leaked out as real leaks, and people started buying stuff based off of it.
Wow!
And I mean, it's we got to be careful, especially with Star Wars, man.
Yeah, and that's why when I do my spec, and even when I know talking to the Pressable Defects guys, like we always say at the start of the videos, like, hey, no one's telling you to go buy because sometimes people just watch video. I'm not saying don't watch our videos, but like sometimes people watch the video and they get crazy and then they get mad. Because let's face it, there are a lot of people that just tune in. They want to get that quick flip, but like there's no book I can give you to say, our shows are on Sunday. So there's no book I can give you. Hey, go buy it on Sunday. And then you're going to make, $2,000 by Saturday that week.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And usually it's like stuff you can't even perceive.
Yeah.
It's like picking the next stock trend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right.
I wouldn't be in comics if I could do that. So I still would. I'm a nerd. Anyway, sorry, Face.
Oh, go ahead. There was actually a comment in chat that was relating to Star Wars in general, but this book specifically, and they were talking about like the High Republic stuff and that being Kathleen Kennedy's project. And that's kind of true in Star Wars right now. There's sort of like two different sides of Star Wars.
Yeah,
you have stuff that like Dave Filoni's doing, and then the stuff that seems like Kathleen Kennedy is running, and they're very.
You mean the good stuff and the bad stuff?
Yeah, basically.
I'm just kidding.
Well, the only thing that bugs me about these books is I hate the fact that I say Death Vader. I don't know why. It just comes out that way, but yeah.
You say Death Vader? I think it's kind of cute.
Yeah, I always for whatever reason I always say Death Vader. It's freaking crazy.
Oh, dude, first Ambush book.
Yeah, so we got DC Comics Presents number 52, first appearance of Ambush Bug. Raw copies sell anywhere between $20 and $80. The last CGC sold in a 9.8 was $187 Canadian, and the last CGC 9.6 is $112. So you kind of see a small dip there. Roughly like 65 bucks. Just taking a guess or trying to show off my math skills. But yeah, I mean, Face, I believe this was your book. I'm not the greatest DC guy. I respect it. I like it. I think competition is good for it. I just don't think this is a book that I've ever come across, and I don't necessarily go to those Superman books. I'm not a Superman fan. So yeah, I don't know what to do with this book. You might have to convince me to do something with it.
Okay, well, so the thing about this one, this book is all, and it is my book that, you know, I suggested for adding to the list. This is just wishful thinking on my part, really. Ambush Bug is a DC character. He's an awesome fucking character. He's hilarious. Breaks the fourth wall constantly. He's basically DC's Deadpool before Deadpool was around. And I would love to see somebody at DC get some fucking sense and do something with him. Unfortunately, they probably never will. He would be great in live action. I mean, they've already, you know, we've already seen, you know, how Deadpool translated over to live action, and even though he does have those similarities, it's still a different enough character that I think fans would love him, especially if they got, you know, someone good to play the role. But yeah, it's not likely that you're probably ever going to see it. As much as I would love to say this is a buy, even for being undervalued and everything like that, if you're doing it for spec, you could probably go ahead and pass it by. If you just want to add a cool first appearance of a character to your collection, this is super undervalued and definitely a buy. So just depends on how you look at it, really.
I gotta say, when I'm old enough, because I'm really old, newbie, and I bought Ambush Bug #1 off the stands in I think 82, 83. I think that's around the Captain Carrot era. It might have been a little later, but it was around there. And I was kind of into that, G.I. Joe, Micronauts. Like I was like into toy related. I was still like really little kid. So and I loved Ambush Bug. I thought it was the greatest. And I'm happy that Face put this up, like you guys put this up, because I didn't even know this was his first appearance. And I'm going to go out and buy a 9.8 tonight if I can find it.
Right?
I love this book. I think it's great. I think spec on it is, well, it's definitely would be very long term, but I don't. I really don't know. I have no opinion about it at all. I just think this is a cool ass book. Actually, I think this is an undervalued book. As cool as
right. That's what I'm saying. Like
it's a collector book.
Suggested it for the list. Right.
Yeah. Like, this isn't like
wow.
Yeah, like not based off movies or anything. This is just an undervalued cool book.
Yeah.
If you get like right now, like the highest 149, I'm just looking at 9.8 sold on Saturday. It's April 17th for $149 in 9.8. That's crazy cheap.
You mean May, right?
It says April 17th.
Oh, okay.
Month ago.
Yeah, a month ago. So like they're really cheap. So
yeah.
I'm going to get one. I don't know about you guys. Don't go get one. I want one. So
I grabbed mine last.
I need to start looking for this one to see if it's out there. Yeah. Again, I wouldn't notice this. You know, if I came across this, I wouldn't know what it was.
I wouldn't have till today. And now I'm going to totally notice this book. And you know me, I'm going to end up with a stack of 5 of them raw.
Yeah, exactly. Next time you see one of your videos, you're going to be like, okay, so I got
check this shit. I'll be a genius. No, but honestly, I don't know I really couldn't tell you a future on this book.
Yeah.
I don't know what the DC universe is so weird. I used to collect it, and I think Batman are always smart buys. Batman's the Spider-Man of that universe. So it's, you know, the strongest character. Superman is Superman.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could go 500 issues and not find a key issue, but it's just such a weird universe. And really, until they get their act together in the films and TV, it is what it is. It just is what it is. So,
right.
They are undervalued, though. I mean, I do think they have a chance to make a lot of money for people if they wanted to.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. If he ever shows up.
Yeah.
And they do well. Yeah, it'll blow up for sure. But
yeah.
Ryan, what's going on, man?
Hey, Ryan.
Comics. If you guys don't follow Ryan, go check out his Instagram. Man, he's okay. I feel good about my collection. I see what he posts, and I'm like, okay, back to the drawing board.
Yeah, all I picture is Ryan's wife yelling at him all the time whenever mail shows up. Because I mean, he must get like 10 boxes a day.
Dude, that's what happened to me. I got this book right here. My girlfriend texted me. She goes, and guys, look how thick this is. She goes, one of your comics is here. And I go, one? How do you know it's one? Yeah.
Are you going to open that?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where we are. See where we are. All right. Next book up, guys. I mean, this book. Say no more, but
it's on fire.
Yeah. So this is the first appearance of Kitty Pryde. Caught heat the second week of April. Raw copies were selling anywhere between $120 and $250 Canadian. That has skyrocketed. I mean, you're probably looking at $150 on a low end. The last CGC sold was a 9.0 for $615. However, I do know that there was a 9.8 that sold for, I believe, $1,100.
A 9.8?
Yeah.
Didn't one sell for like 13,000 recently?
13,000?
Yeah.
Damn.
It was SIG series, but still, like, I think there's like 9.8s are like up to $7,000 blue label.
Jeez. Okay. So I don't know when I did these numbers, but
like they're crazy. Like they're through. And even Ryan Automatic Comics just got one. And I mean, I think it was around 3 or 4 that ballpark, even when he got it. So it's through the roof, man. I have a 9.6 and I think it's $2,000.
That's insane.
It's crazy. 8.0s are like $300 or $400. It's fucking crazy, this book.
Yeah. At this point with this book, you know, I'm probably going to go for like the next best thing, which, I mean, some people go for a second appearance. I've kind of just always talked about it. I've talked about it on the Spec Show too with Kitty Pryde Wolverine #5, where she becomes Shadowcat. That's her mutant name. That's what she is. Like, that's her name. That's what she picks. That's what we really know her.
Cosmic character too.
Yeah, cosmic character as well. And I've told you guys, I mean, that book is like 50 cents to $1. You can find it anywhere. If you're here in Southern Ontario, you know I've cleaned up because I've got like 12 copies myself. I know Key Issues has like 3 or 4 himself. So
someone really smart must have told you about that book.
Yeah, somebody. So yeah, so definitely something, you know, it's just getting to the point where this character, I mean, you're almost going to have to go next best thing, I think. If you have it, I would hold on to it. I probably would stay away from buying and getting the prices that are going on right now. Like, there's no way I would pay $13,000 on this book. I mean, $13,000, I'd still take my chances on a low end Hulk 181. You know what I mean? Like
a Hulk one.
or a Hulk one. Yeah,
like in a point,
right?
like a 0.5 or something. It's crazy.
So yeah, I would probably avoid buying it right now. And it's funny because I know a Source Tiger was talking about this, and like a month ago with me, we were talking about it. He was in the chat and he was saying some stuff. But yeah, definitely a book I would probably hold on to. I wouldn't buy it right now. I don't know why. And I get it. Like, when she pops, it'll double. I don't know, man. The prices are
then you should go buy a 9.8 and let it double, because that'll be $26,000.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good investment, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, the girlfriend would love. Yeah,
I'm not. Don't worry, I can't do that.
I mean, that paper right at the bank, but yeah.
Anybody want a copy? I'm only asking $12,000. Save $1,000. I mean,
I gotta ask, Face, do you own this copy?
Yes.
God damn it! So I'm the only one in the panel that doesn't. Okay.
If you need one, I have some extras. If you want one.
Not at 13,000.
I'm not giving you a 9.8. I don't have a 9.8. I have a 9.6, and I have a bunch coming back from CGC over the next month, like 3. They're like mid to like 9.0s. Great.
I mean, I would absolutely take $13,000 for it in a fucking heartbeat.
Face, do you have a 9.8?
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, I would absolutely take a $13,000 for it. But
Ryan from Automatic Comics,
if I were going to sell it,
he has a hard time selling though. That's the thing. Like, he has a hard time selling.
I understand why you'd have a hard time selling that book though. I really do think that this, if you've been collecting a long time, this has always been like to me, it's one of the top 10 keys of the X-Men for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad
it's a big
I have
deal
it.
book.
Sure.
Me too. And I don't. My 9.6 will stay with me forever.
Top 10. Maybe after the show, I'm gonna have to like write down 10 books before I get to this one. I don't know about that. That's
for X-Men keys.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's top 10.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. For me, it is.
Like,
I know
what kills me about this one though is like just it is honestly the prices on it. Because I'm thinking, you know, for those prices, yeah, there's a whole lot of other fucking books that I can go and get for that same price that I would much rather have. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Hey, I just want to say something to Automatic Comics. Shh, about the 139.
Right.
I'm trying to buy them right now. Not for that reason either. There's another reason.
Oh man, Eddie's mullet. I think I've never heard somebody say this sentence, but I'm going to start using it. I'm just going to have to, you know, fill in with other stuff at the end of that sentence. But yeah, there's a sucker.
I wish I knew who that sucker was.
And
I don't know, you know, I want to talk about this for a second. I hope we have time, but
yeah,
there's a theory that like, so books are getting very expensive right now, and there's a lot of sports card guys stepping into the market. And there's one sports card guy that does a lot of videos about comics now, and they're pretty interesting because it's a different perspective. And his theory is that all our comics are undervalued severely, and have been for years. And and when I hear the people bitching about prices, it's usually guys my age, or a little bit younger or older, who have been in comics for so long, and they're just not used to it. It's shocking to them that the prices are going so fast because we just haven't been used to it. But the younger collectors are just like, they're kind of just going along with the ride. It's just what it is. You know, other markets have had this kind of thing happen to it before. And I don't know. I'm stressed out about how it's going so fast, because that's sometimes a scary proposition. But at the same time, it's like a lot of these books are, you know, you could get this book in a 9.6 for like $400 2 years ago.
Yeah. It sort of makes sense if you look at comics from like the perspective of the sports cards collectors and everything like that. Yes, thinking that they're undervalued, it's probably not too surprising. I mean, look at, you know, there was a Tom Brady rookie card that sold for how many million just not too long ago, and
yeah, true.
That's not even that old or anything like that. And you know, you do see a lot of sports cards people that are jumping into comics. The ones that I love are the guys that jump in from sports cards that have no knowledge about comics whatsoever, and you can tell because like comics is completely different from sports cards. You know, sports cards are based off of stat lines and player progression and everything like that, whereas comics is completely fucking arbitrary. You know, you have no idea if a storyline is going to take off or if a character is going to show up in live action. Like, there's no way to know that shit. It's all arbitrary, and you know, it's just interesting to look at it from the two different perspectives.
I think there's more structure to it, and I think it's a stronger market than sports cards because of what you just said.
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, you know, people will always like Spider-Man. It's not like he's going to have a bad season.
Yeah.
You know, he might have a bad movie, but it's not going to destroy him.
I think there's
if Nick Spencer's got anything to do with it, Spider-Man's having a real bad fucking season.
Sorry, I just wanted to interrupt real quick. So a lot of guys are having issues with internet. So I can see the numbers going down and up dramatically. So I think something's going on with YouTube. So hopefully everybody can tune in. But a lot of people are saying, you know, their internet's down. A lot of people are saying just reset. It might help. So maybe do that, guys. The other point I was going to make is, with those cards. I mean, I totally get why they would say it's undervalued, because when you look at, say, sports cards, and let's take hockey, just because of the fact that you got Crosby and Ovechkin, and I know there's a lot more Canadians here, so you know, you guys know who I'm talking about, but like Crosby and Ovechkin, those cards now are reaching almost 20 grand. And when you think of those two characters, you think, or those athletes, you think top of the line hockey players, of course that those cards should be 20 grand. But then you look at some characters, right? Like before this year, Wolverine, one of the biggest characters in the Marvel Universe. I mean, at best, that was a $5,000 book. Now you go look at it, $5,000 is probably going to get you maybe a 0.5, maybe.
For what book?
Wolverine, Hulk 181, right?
No, they'll get you like a 4 to a 5.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but you can see like where, like the argument, right, where these cards are saying, like, they're like, hey, you know, the best of the best in hockey, it's already at that mark. And then you have here these characters that are like, you know, 5 to 8 grand. Okay, obviously those guys are going to come pick it up. So yeah. All right. So yeah, I'm assuming everybody's saying it's glitchy and stuff like that. So I don't know. Hopefully,
I think we're fine. I mean, if we should be fine. Obviously, there's an issue with.
I think it's
got to be on YouTube's end.
Yeah, I think it's YouTube's end. But hopefully everybody comes in. If not, hey, rewind, and if not, hey, happy evening. All right, next book. I can't remember if I put this or if Hyper did, but we got Marvel Premiere number 47. So this is the first appearance of Scott Lang as Ant-Man. He's an OG Avenger, an OG character. If you
sorry to interrupt. I'm on YouTube right now, and it says an error occurred, and it says please try again later.
Oh shoot. Okay.
So it's YouTube. It's YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
So OG, original gangster, but the saying OG. I believe this is a very undervalued book. Again, it's not the first appearance of Ant-Man, which a lot of newer people coming into the hobby, I know that they've not been tricked, but you gotta read the citation. You gotta read what you're buying. This is the first appearance of Scott Lang as Ant-Man, not the first appearance of Ant-Man. Raw copies sell anywhere between 100 and 285 Canadian, and the last CGC sold was a 9.4 for $434 Canadian. I had an 8.0 that I let go in October, and I believe I got $250 for it. I regret it. I really do. I mean, I don't know the future, but this book is definitely going to spike once Ant-Man 3, right? Yeah, 3? Yeah. And 3 comes into play.
Quantumania.
Yeah, I think he's going to be around as one of those characters, and you also in these movies. I mean, this is what Marvel kind of hopes for, right? Like, this is a movie that you can bring your kid. If you're not into comics, you can bring them there anyway. Male, female, it doesn't matter because it's got that comic relief as well. It's likable characters. It's not like Ant-Man's going to rip anyone's head off and there's blood and gore or anything like that. It's one of those superhero movies that is nice. It's for the family. It's comic. It's got all that. So definitely a book that I would probably keep if you got it. Eddie's Mullet saying Scott Lang is not OG. He's second G. Yeah, okay. You're right. That's true.
So negative that Eddie's Mullet.
Hank Pym is the OG. You're right.
Has a point.
He does have a point. So I'll give it to him. But definitely, I just think it's a very undervalued book, guys. And there was a time where these were super cheap. Now, even at $435, I think that's a little high compared to like other books that you might be able to get, especially for that investment side. But nevertheless, a nice book to have in the PC.
Yeah, looking at these prices, man, it seems like it's pretty seriously undervalued for what you would think that this would be at, given that he's already been in, yeah, exactly, super undervalued, given that he's already been in the MCU and everything like that. And I think Scott Lang and the MCU have essentially retired Hank Pym as Ant-Man. I don't think we're going to see that anymore, even in the comics too much. He'll probably fill another role. You're probably going to just have Scott Lang for the foreseeable future.
Hold on a second. Can somebody confirm, is Paul Rudd in his 50s?
He's like 50. He's like 49.
Guy, he's young forever. Yeah.
I mean, he was an adult like in 83, so whatever that means.
Yeah, he still looks like 12.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Wow. That's wow.
Yeah, I wish I had those genetics.
I guess I feel like I'm never aging or anything. You know what I mean? Like, I always look at people, I'm like, how is that person that old? And then, like, it's always like my mom or a friend of mine is like, yeah, but you're also like 33. It's like, oh, right. Yeah,
true. Yeah, I have sperm in my sack older than you.
So I mean, it's pretty undervalued. So I think for those prices, I would probably grab a copy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with Face. I think this book is severely undervalued, and it's starting to go up right now. It's that lull period like between movies, and now people are smelling. There's a third movie next year. It's coming. They start shooting like any day now. You're going to start seeing stuff in the media about it. You're going to see Paul Rudd standing, smoking a cigarette with his mask down outside of a set pretty soon. And people are going to get all excited. And they're going to start theorizing about all this stuff. And they're going to go after this book. And quite frankly, this book never got too expensive, even back in the day. And granted, the first Ant-Man, of course, will always be the prime book to get. But most people can't afford that book.
No.
At all, but you can afford this book. Average collectors can get this book, and I think this in a 9.8 could potentially be a $4,000 or $5,000 book by the time the movie hits. And I really think it's a really good buy right now. That's what I'm throwing on the table.
Yeah.
Also, not to mention, it's kind of a cool. I've always liked this cover. I don't know why.
Yeah, me too.
Like what?
Yeah,
I mean, I really like it. So, all right. The next book, this is probably one that's going to have a lot of discussion with it, but Young Avengers #1 comes perfect timing for our chat because somebody made a comment like those Young Avengers books are super overpriced. So we've talked about this book many times. It's kind of got a nickname. What's that nickname? Well, it's the giant-sized X-Men of this generation, supposedly. I've heard arguments on both, so I get it. But this is the first appearance of Hulking, Kate Bishop, Iron Lad, Patriot, and Asgardian. Keep in mind, Kate Bishop is confirmed. Iron Lad we've already seen in Winter Soldier, and Patriot is, or no, sorry, Iron Lad is Kang, right? Like, you guys got to remember that is who Kang is, and Patriot is the one that we saw in Winter Soldier. Sorry. So the argument that this book has is it's one of those, people compare it all the time to Giant Size X-Men 1. 9.8 for this book sold for $1,200 on April 7th. A 9.6 sold for $700. So you almost have, well, not almost, you have $500 there in difference on just those grades, right?
That's not that much, though.
No.
You know, because you see a lot of books in the 2000 range of a 9.8, and they're selling for 400 and 9.6 these days. So that's actually pretty close.
Yeah, this book Face knows very well because he owns a few copies and because he knows that I regret selling mine last summer. I sold mine last summer for $120 Canadian, and I'm pretty sure I have been known to grade books pretty well. I would say it was a 9.6. I never give my books 9.8s. I have one of those, you know, those things. So even
no one should, except for CGC.
Yeah, I just have a hard time saying that, right? So I always just, you know, if it looks really sharp and it's really good, I always just say it's a 9.6. And then if I get surprised with the 9.8, hey, great. If not, whatever. But if you have this, obviously hold on to it. Like, why would you sell it? I mean, I get it, unless you can't put food on your table and, you know, families and life happens. I get it. But this is definitely one to hold on to. I've always stayed on the side that this is not the Giant Size X-Men. Like, if people are comparing it to that, I can see why. I just don't see it fully panning out that way. But it's definitely an interesting book to have for the future. Definitely hold. I wouldn't buy at $1,200 right now. But yeah, definitely a keep. I would hold this one very closely to my long box.
Yeah, like you said, I actually have a couple copies of this, so I'm lucky on that end. The prices on it are pretty high. I get the whole Giant Size X-Men 1 comparison in that it's got a bunch of first appearances and everything like that, but that's really, I think, where that comparison ends for the most part. I have a hard time thinking that this would be a buy because the prices are so high on it. But at the same time, you know, like we were talking about that Dr. Afra earlier too. In the long run, these prices could actually be cheap on it. If, you know, if and when they do finally show up, you know, you could definitely see them double even more. But I kind of agree with the comment that Eddie's Mullet made in chat here a minute ago. They're skipping a lot of Avengers to get to the younger kids and the younger generation, and it does seem like they are sort of rushing that aspect a bit. To me, to get to the younger characters. But I mean, it makes sense that they do that because they're going to resonate with a younger audience. So, you know, that's why they want to push that. So, yeah, it's hard to say buy at those prices, but yeah, in the end, it could be cheap. I think it's definitely a hold if you have it, for sure.
Yeah,
you can hold to it, wait till we see them show up, because it's pretty likely. You know, it seems like they're setting up for it down the road.
I think it's long term. I think it's overpriced at the moment. I think it's going to die down because it needs to. It goes back to that. It's being overspec. People are creating a fantasy world of what this book is going to be and all these characters are going to be. But the only thing we've got is basically Kate Bishop showing up that we're confirmed with, and everyone else is kind of like, well, it's definitely going to happen because Kate Bishop's there. So, and then they start like creating a fictional story for themselves. And it's, well, obviously Young Avengers, and that's going to happen in the next 2 years. And, you know, and then this book's going to be this and this and this. And then they just create, again, all these tangents. But the reality is, I mean, they've got to set up every single one of these characters. And honestly, Hulkling isn't going to be an easy character to set up.
No.
And actually, all these have to, like, it's slowly going to be set up, and you're going to have to take your time to get used to them before you can team them up and us give a shit. And so I think this, honestly, if this was based off movie spec, we're 5-6 years out minimum on this.
I think people forget, especially like newer people to the hobby, is, you know, and even before the pandemic happened, right? Like, for example, when Iron Man 1 came out, like it didn't come out, like the second movie didn't come out a year later. It was usually like 2 years later, 2.5, right? And same with what we're going to get. Like, you're not going to get the next movie that follows it necessarily right away. So like what I mean is, like, look at Avengers. When Avengers came out, it took like almost 5 years later to get that second Avengers, and then Onslaught, right? So like, yes, while you can spec on this right now, this, when we say this could be like a few movies away, well, a few movies is literally like every 2 years. So think about that, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a while. And I can see this comic losing steam in that process. Like, because everyone's just like, everyone needs to flip tomorrow and make money tomorrow. And it's like, and I'm watching younger collectors, like, they're playing it like stocks. It's like, if you sat on this book, if you bought it raw right now for a couple $100 and hopefully you get a 9698 and you sit on that, you do crazy business on that book.
Yep.
But you got to hold it 5 years. But you can make $600 today or whatever. But this is a long-term hold, in my opinion. Yeah. I still think it's a great book. I really do. But I don't know. I don't relate to any of these characters. So, because I'm, as you mentioned before, an old man, and but I don't. So I'll probably never be really keen on this book. Yeah. That was an old man way of saying into it.
That's confirmed.
Yeah. Also, by the way, Ryan from Automatic Comics said that Mephisto is going to be a young Avenger. You heard? I think that's really smart spec.
So that's what happens on.
It's confirmed. Newbie confirms it here tonight.
All right, Face. This is another one of your picks. We got God of Thunder #2, first appearance of Gore the God Butcher. Christian Bale's playing it, so that's pretty big. Russell Crowe was casted as Zeus. So as soon as that news broke, I believe it was mid-April, everybody just went nuts for the Hercules, and everybody was saying, well, how can you have Zeus? How can you have Zeus and the God the Butcher? Oh, yeah, easily, because we're going to kill him off, right? I believe Russell Crowe's only on for one movie, so we'll see where that goes. Raw copies, still super high. I mean, 2 to 350. Canadian. I think the 9.8 has passed. I believe it's past $1,000 Canadian. I really do. But nevertheless, this is one of those books that I'm heroes before villains, always. So I don't know what that does to the future of this character, because there's only so many villains they could do to have the Thanos treatment, right? Like, everyone's like, oh, Kang's gonna have it, no, Galactus is gonna have it, no, this. Like, I just don't see Gore the God Butcher having a big longevity. I'm not saying he's a one and done, but I'm saying that he's not going to be around for, say, like 5 movies or anything like that. And that's just my opinion. So I think that there's time to get this one, but again, heroes over villains for me, unless it's like Joker, of course. But yeah.
Yeah, see, he's a really cool villain and everything. It was a great storyline. But yeah, he kind of seems like he's essentially a one and done character for the most part. I think I'm not sure. There might have been reports that Christian Bale signed on for more than one movie. Like, he signed on for like 2 or 3 movies, and they may be able to stretch it into, 2 or 3 movies or whatever, that storyline, if they go that route. I just don't think they're going to have Gore sticking around after the storyline plays out in the movies, just because, I mean, you see how it went in the comics and everything like that. And as we get closer and closer to Thor, it's probably not the best time to buy.
Yeah.
I'd say
It's
though,
going to sell as we get closer.
I'm gonna throw out. This is my advice to young collectors that want to make really quick money really quickly. I would buy it right now. I'd buy 9/8. I'd buy 3 or 4 of them right today, and I would sell them when that fucking trailer hits. And it's gonna hit like because the movie comes out next year. Like it's not far off. I think it comes out in May.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start seeing trailers at Christmas, probably with Eternals in November. And so you're going to have about 6 months to buy this book at this. Well, not this. Well, it probably will go up a bit by then, but it's going to because people have to see this crap before they like go crazy.
Yeah,
and they all get left holding the bag with this thing, and it's ridiculous. It's like it's stupid to buy this stuff so close to the movie. Like when you see the trailer, it's just like I don't know why anyone buys it there, but you know what do I know? Anyway, saying that I would buy it now, and I think you could make an easy $1,000 between now and
the crazy
November.
part is, like, the reports are out there for so long before the trailer ever hits that it's going to be happening. And
well, look at what happened with Shang-Chi, right? Everybody was like, yeah, we know it's there, but we haven't seen a trailer there. Yeah. And 8.5 was like $800, $700. The day the trailer came out, it was like 2,200.
Yeah.
And I remember 2 weeks prior to that, somebody on, I'm not going to name their name, someone on one of the YouTube comic channels was talking about how overrated that comic was and how overpriced it was. But just before that trailer hit. And I was like, I just thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think this book, if you want to make an easy $1,000, buy it today and sell it in November.
Yeah, we'll see. So there is.
Do you want to do it? Let's do a video on it. I'll buy one tomorrow and then we'll see what happens in November. I don't own this book, by the way.
I don't own it either. I missed this one. There seems to definitely be something with YouTube, so I totally get it. Most people are probably going to watch this on the rewind, but the few people that are here totally get it. But I guess from what I'm hearing, I'm getting messages, and even Chris said YouTube is, cutting streams, whatever the case may be. I don't know. There's a server issue, so.
Eddie's Mullet's talking about something I want to bring up here. He says Marvel will put I find it hard to believe Marvel will put a lot of stock in public domain names like Zeus and Hercules, which is a shame. The Prince of Power is classic. It is a classic, but it does sound like they are diving a little bit into this. So I don't know what that means, quite frankly.
Well, Hercules is like, I think
he's a cool character.
Like there was nothing. Nobody said anything about Hercules. Everybody just said
they have their own version of Hercules.
Like, gone, right? So like everybody's going nuts with the Hercules stuff.
That book's gone through the roof.
It's crazy, man. And I remember that book
just because cheap. Like bringing in Zeus in this storyline. Like Newbie, you said earlier that it's been speculated that Zeus probably isn't going to make it out of this storyline alive, being as it looks like. And Russell Crowe's only signed on for one movie. So if he doesn't make it out of this movie, if Marvel's going to bring in Hercules, you'd think they'd have to do it before Zeus dies. I guess that's kind of the the underlying thinking behind the Hercules spike right now.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
There's nothing official yet on Hercules.
No. Chris, I hope you respect this, but I probably I get the flipping it, but I don't know, man. That's just a lot of money to put.
It is a high price tag.
Yeah, we'll see.
What are you, a pussy?
You are what you eat, man. So
it's good answer. I like that. Snappy comeback.
All right. Next book. We're trying to keep it PG, 13. Next book up. And we got 4 books left, guys. So hopefully, if you're still tuning in, I hope you guys can bear with us. But we got 4 books. The conversations are going to get a little heated on these next 4, I believe. But Marvel Comics presents number 72. I have a copy. I know Face has a copy. I don't know if Hyper has one. I know Chris has a ton. But this is the origin of Wolverine. You might have heard the guy, Weapon X. However, what most people don't realize is this is not the first appearance of the Weapon X. There's another issue. I'm not going to give it to you. But yeah, it says it in the cover. So why wouldn't people think that this is the first appearance, right?
It doesn't matter, though. It's on the title.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. Average people don't care.
Yeah.
Says it right on the cover.
Disney series is coming, right? 100%. They said they were going to do like an anthology series and kind of go from the start. Not sure if that will translate over to the movies. Raw copies are selling anywhere between, that's false, the 40 to 100. Raw copies are selling now anywhere between 60 and 120. The last CGC sold on April 15th was 187, 9.6. Look at the day before. Last CGC sold was a 9.8 for 612. I know this has gone up, and I believe that it has already reached $1,000 because somebody had commented about this book in a chat last week, and they said, I can't believe this book reached $1,000. Unreal. But when you think about it, I mean, this was an undervalued book for so many years, so many moons. You just knew when people couldn't afford Hulk 181 or Hulk 180 that this would probably get some love, especially with people just rushing to get those Wolverine ones. Definitely an undervalued book. I scored because I got 2 copies for $2 each. So definitely a keep. If you got multiple copies and you want to make a quick buck, yeah, flip them. But I would definitely keep one because Wolverine is just going to be an unstoppable force once he comes back.
Next Spider-Man.
Yeah,
he was back when we were kids. He was bigger than Spider-Man for a while in the 80s. He was the biggest thing of the 80s. And Punisher was number 2. It really was like that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I could see it easily becoming that again if they do it right. So anyway, sorry, I'm stepping on you guys' toes.
No, man.
It's definitely possible. And yeah, like you said, it wasn't too long ago that you could get this book pretty cheap. But prices are going up on it now, and everything like that. I think it's a hold for me because, you know, even if the Weapon X anthology series or whatever doesn't pan out and they don't end up doing it, you know, you still know that you're going to get Wolverine eventually. I mean, he's pretty much as big of a guarantee as you'll probably get in the MCU that they're going to bring in Wolverine at some point. You know, and I actually had to go back and look for an older article that I was trying to find about a week ago. So I was talking to somebody about the series, and when they originally first started talking about the Weapon X anthology series or whatever that they were coming out with, the initial statements that were put out, I guess, by Marvel and whatnot, was that they were actually going to leave like all the Wolverine stuff alone. So I'm not sure what they were doing with Weapon X as far as how they were going to run that anthology series or whatever. It seems like it would have made more sense to tie it in towards the end of, you know, the season or whatever. But even without that, I mean, still, if they're running the Weapon X program and everything like that, you know, I still think it's going to be a hold because it's going to be more dependent on Wolverine than that anthology series, I think.
I personally think it's a hold too. I think there's no one can afford Hulk 181. Even a 0.5s or $2,000. You know, most people can't afford that. What's the next one? It'd be Wolverine Limited Series. Number 1 is probably the next key. And that's getting quite pricey very quickly. And now this is probably the 3rd best key, and then after this is the Wolverine regular series, and then I think a book that everyone's forgetting about from around 2002 is Wolverine Origins. I would really look into buying that book because I think people are going to keep. Because if I would have I bought like 20 copies of this 2 years ago. Laughed out of stores for buying this book in multiples. Laughed out of stores, and now people are literally like, "God, you're a smart guy there, Chris, for buying it." But it's like I just saw it as like it's the origin, and inevitably when Wolverine does hit, it's going to be a big deal for everything. But that Wolverine Origins, I'm getting laughed out of stores for buying that issue 1 of that. It's a cheap book
in a flea market for $2, and like I said, Chris, I showed you the
you can still find them.
Yeah, which I sold, and then I still have a 9.8 copy. Like,
good, crazy. Keep it. Don't sell it. Keep this book until you see visual representation of Wolverine, because it's going to go crazy. And I honestly, I will always say this: Hulk 181 is the Amazing Fantasy 15 of the Bronze Age, and it will be not neck and neck. It will probably never be neck and neck price wise, but it has the potential to follow in those prices. So. Everything else is going to get dragged up. So, hold this book, please. And get more if you can.
The stream that's down. It's just the stream that's down. Other channels work. Eddie's mullet saying YouTube down is trending on Twitter. Like,
yeah, it's down for me. Other channels are down for me.
Maybe it's just the area, guys. You know, but if we, you know, if nobody's taking credit, let's just say Newbie Comics broke the internet for having Vancouver Comic Junkie on his channel.
You know it.
There you go. So I want that in the New York Times paper.
We dropped too much knowledge.
Yeah, everyone was like,
if it's an internet crash, I'm blaming Hyper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
So guys, I know you guys love talking about Wolverine, so I thought, why not talk about Wolverine #1, the solo series? So again, you can't afford 180, 181. Raw copies sell anywhere between 125 and 300 Canadian. The last CGC sold was a 96510 on April 11th. However, that's a lie because a 9.8 passed the $1,100 Canadian mark, I think a week ago, a few days ago, actually. This is probably, after 180 and 181, this is probably the one to have, Chris. And I know you have more Wolverine knowledge. Me personally, I think that this is the third book you probably want. This is the.
I always forget about 180. 180 is number 2. You should always. Yeah. So this would be like number 3. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And the one before it is number 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely the one to have. If you have this, keep it. I remember, again, going back to Comic-Con here in the fall, I remember seeing 9.6s, 9.8s for this for like maybe 80 to $100 back in the day. Like it just nothing. And now, I mean, you look at it, Wolverine probably number 2 best Marvel character. When he hits, it'll probably be like everywhere. Everyone will be dressing up as Wolverine. You know, everything is just going to go nuts. So definitely a book I would keep, 100% keep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Same for me. It's definitely a keep. It falls right into similar category as the last book, man. You know, you'll want to hold on to it until we get Wolverine.
Yeah, there's no question. No question. It's I mean, this is another one of those big deal books in the 80s. If you're around the 80s, this was like a atomic bomb going off in 1984. Everyone had to have it. And I still feel that way when I see the cover. Even though, oddly enough, I look at the cover and it kind of looks like shit now. But it looked as cool as I remembered it. I just remember, like, look at his arm. Like his left, like with this, it just looks like all weird. Anyway, I love this book. As just a comic collector, it's a great book to own. Like movie spec aside, it's just something that everyone should have in their collection. But I am a little shocked at how expensive it is. Even though I'm shocked at how expensive most comics are. What do I know? But yeah, keep this book. If you have it, keep it. If you can get it cheap, buy it.
Yeah.
You're going to make money on it.
What's the argument that people make for Hulk 340 though? Because that's another book that skyrocketed because of the fact
it's just a classic cover, man. That's all it is. Yeah, it's like it's like that. All those McFarlane covers. That's an interesting thing that's kind of popped up in the last year. The nostalgia covers.
Yeah,
like people, and I think if you want to start making some money, go collect all Mike Zeck covers from the 80s. They're all classic covers. Buy them all. You can get them for $5 to $10 each. And get them in 9/8, and I guarantee you they're going to go through the roof. Much like those McFarlane covers, I think they're the next cover to go. But it's simply that. It's like people had that poster on their wall when they were 12 years old. So it's just relating to that.
All right, this is where the conversation is going to get a little crazy.
Oh, it better. Ugh.
It better. Ugh. We got Amazing Spider-Man 361. So the trailer dropped May 10th. For those of you keeping score, this is the first appearance of, I guess, Carnage. Because Who's that? Some people are going to be like, well, it's this book, it's 360, and da-da-da. Look, I don't make the rules. This is just what the market dictates. This is what CGC dictates. And I'm not saying they're in charge, but a lot of people listen to them, right? So this book obviously spiked. I know that firsthand because my 9.6 went from 500 to 850. So I sold it. I was telling everybody, including Face, that, you know, once this trailer came and we saw the image of Carnage, I was out. Just too much money on the table to get it. I think that the symbiotes, this one and 300, are one in. I think if you're a fan, I understand why you would want to keep it. but at the same time, I think you can get them cheaper, like down the road. Raw copies are selling anywhere between $200 and $400 Canadian, and the last CGC sold direct, not newsstand, was $1,600 Canadian. As you can see on the bottom, I've said, Newbie says, sell this book now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm keeping mine, but I'm a Carnage fan, so obviously I'm not gonna get rid of it. But there's probably not gonna be a better time to sell it. You just got that trailer that dropped, and people are excited about the movie. I want the movie to be good. I'm not sold 100% that it's gonna be, but I would very like it to be. So, and if it is, it does look like they might lean into the Maximum Carnage storyline. So you might have more Carnage in the future, which could see a little bit more of a spike in the book and everything like that. But I don't think it's going to be anything too serious that you'd be missing out on if you did end up selling it pretty much now. So yeah, this is probably about the best time that you'll have to sell it.
Yeah.
I said this last week when you were on my channel for that CGC unboxing, and I'm going to say it again on your channel. If you have this and Amazing Spider-Man 300, I would sell those motherfuckers right now. And between now and the release of the movie, which I think is September. Yeah. So, yeah. Christ, I'd probably sell now. Yeah, in the next month, sell these books because you'll be able to buy these books for 50% off this time next year. That's what I think. I really believe that. I couldn't. The spec on them, just based off of the fact there's even a movie out, is through the roof. And they are popular characters, and I do believe in them long term. Like, if you had 3 copies, I would keep one of each long term for the next 20 years because they're just great books to own. And they'll always go back. They'll bounce back, but they're going to drop like stones next year because no one's going to care. The movie's done, and we have to wait another 3 years, and everyone's going to pay attention to other things. It doesn't mean they're bad books. It just means that they're just not as interesting anymore since we saw the movie, and the movie's going to suck, and we all know it. And
don't say that. I don't want.
Well, the last one wasn't.
The last one wasn't that good. And Chris, I'll take some words out of your mouth. I said it on your channel. I'll say it on mine.
Okay.
How can you do Carnage and it be PG-13? How is it not?
Agreed. Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
How?
Well,
right?
See, okay, but the thing is, like, I see what you're saying with that. While I agree, okay, so if this were a Carnage movie, absolutely, I would say, yeah, it has to have that hard R rating if they're making a Carnage movie. But since they're making a Spider-Man movie, they're just gonna if Woody gets too brutal as Carnage or whatever, you know what they're gonna have it do the fucking pan away.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
totally.
And it'll just be implied brutality is what they're gonna do.
It's like Chris said though, like and sometimes when I say it, I feel like people think I'm knocking the characters. I don't. If you guys know me, they're
great characters. Right? That's why they're so popular.
Yeah. But what we're saying is this is the perfect time for, like, not necessarily FOMO, but like save a few bucks in your pocket. We're just saying that after this movie, it's going to be a while. And I get people are like, well, when the Black Suit or Venom gets into the MCU.
But that could be but that's a long way away. But it's still going to drop next year, and we're not going to know about that for another few years. So you're going to have this awesome. It's going to be good. This is a good thing. Sell now, make some money, buy it again, half the price. Wow, that's amazing.
And like, every character has done that. If you look back in the history of movies and shows with some of these comics, they all drop. And I just have a hard time thinking, okay, you know what? Yeah, Venom's
give me a book that hasn't.
You know what I mean? Like, exactly, right?
None.
So, yeah. And a lot of people are saying they sold theirs. Yeah, finally sold. Yeah, I sold mine. So, yeah. I mean, it was just too hard to turn down, $800 to $1,000 where, that's where a lot of people
book that has like what, 500,000 copies. Yeah, you're done. I think you did pretty well selling it for that.
Especially when I bought it for like 2, right? Like
I actually just bought one for like $8 like this weekend. So
like garage sale, right?
Yeah. Like it's like raw. It's like probably a 9.4. So
yeah. garage sales, people. That's where you need to buy comics. Sometimes.
Yeah, just out of the blue. All of the Spider-Man symbiote stuff, like all the covers, everything. It was just I picked them up for like $5 each.
Well, we're at the last book, but I thought it would be interesting to talk about. I don't think you can talk about 361 without talking about 300. So I don't need to tell you guys. Well, okay, first of all, I'm not saying it's the first full appearance. I know people are going to be like, well, newbie, 280, 298, and 299. I get it. I get it.
The market has dictated this is the first appearance.
This is it. Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't want to go through that rabbit hole or that argument. I mean, the cover is way better. All that. If Roger from Three Men in the Basement were coming, he would be like, I know he's probably spinning in his chair going crazy because this book made it to the show. He loves this cover. He loves all the swipes of it. But Venom 2 trailer dropped, obviously. Not in the MCU. Last CGC sold was a 9.8 for $8,400 Canadian. So it's safe to say that by the time the movie hits, this is probably a $10,000 book, if not 10,000 plus. But again, I really would recommend selling it, not because I hate the character, not because I'm against it or anything like that. I'm just saying that you capitalize on the big gain now and then go get a cheaper copy later on. That's pretty much the logic in this book in why I say sell it now, because when you take that 8,400, I mean, you can easily put some of that money into like a Hulk 181 and anything. If you're coming from the investment side.
And buy it again for $4,000 next June.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a win-win. And that's kind of where my argument is with these books. And I'll be honest with you guys. I had a 9.0. Chris knows this face. People who follow me, you guys know this. I got a 9.0 in January. I sold it 3 months later. Because I know I'm going to buy this book, but I'm going to buy it later when it's cheaper. So, that's just where I'm at with this book. So,
great cover.
Yeah,
it is. It's a classic cover. Just the collector in me, I don't. I would never allow me to sell this book. If I only had one copy of it, because it would be one that I would have to keep in my collection. If I have multiple copies, and we're looking to sell few, I obviously it's not a bad time to sell. You're going to be seeing the highest prices that it's ever had.
Yeah.
Best case scenario for it, I think at this point is probably like it would gradually gain some small amount of value over time for however long in the future. There will be dips and probably some minor spikes every now and then, but it's probably not going to change a whole lot as far as you're spending fucking $5,000 plus on the book, so at that point it really doesn't matter what you do with it.
Yeah.
It's already fucking astronomical prices. So if you're buying it at this point, you're probably not intending to sell it anyway.
No.
So, but yeah, it wouldn't be a bad time to sell it if you got it cheap, like a year ago or so, and you get rid of it now. Yeah, you probably like Chris said, you don't want to wait until after the movie's passed and it sees that dip and it goes down to whatever it goes down to. That you're obviously you're going to make less then. So if you're going to sell, this would be the time.
I agree. I mean, well, I've already said exactly what I said about 361. I feel about this book. Saying that, I have to reiterate. I think this is it's much like Hulk 181 is for the 80s, for the Copper Age. It's one of those truly iconic books. It always will be, and forever and ever.
Yep.
And I don't want to take that away from it. But again, it will dip, and everything does. And this is just about to have its time. So if I had one copy in 9.8, I would probably, if I had the strength to buy another one when it was down to $4,000 next year, if I knew that, I would sell it now, and I would go and buy 3 copies of Deadpool's first appearance in 9.8, because I think that book is going to be this book next year. That's what I think.
Yeah, and that's not the first time you've mentioned that either. You've been saying that for a very long time.
Yeah,
So.
it's on its way right now, and I think people are don't believe it yet, just because we're not getting news about movies and trailers and stuff.
Yeah.
But the second that he enters because he's like what, the third most popular MCU character ever, potentially, like that and they're gonna kind of reboot him a little bit. I mean, I think Deadpool could be right up there with Wolverine, big. Like, people are sleeping on that book, man. So
it's already like $2,800. I think it might have came down, but it did have.
I think it has a little. Yeah, I think it's in a little bit of a. But there's been no information.
But it also went from like 600 to $2,000. Like,
true, in like 10 minutes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, it's probably a good time to pick that up. Christ, you could get 4 copies for the price of one of these.
Right.
Turn those into $8,000 books within a year or two. You're doing pretty good. If that, if in turn it does do that. But
yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It could.
Well, guys, we've had pretty much everything happen today. Me butchering a comic, me butchering a price, saying Death Vader. Go figure, I say it properly when it doesn't count. YouTube crashed, so everything happened. But we fought through it, though. Yeah, we fought through it. We made it. I do want to say big thank you to Vancouver Comic Junkie.
Did you call me Vancock? Holy shit!
What it sounded like.
There's people listening.
Oh man,
we're using our pet names.
Vancouver Comic Junkie. I want to thank Chris for tuning in. I do have something to say. HMJ buffered through most of this, but want to show some love anyway. Look forward to the Unicorn episode with the full panel of hosts, including Mr. Key Issues. Mr. Key Issues will come as soon as he's got some time. But yeah, thank you so much for that super chat, brother. I appreciate it. I do want to say this right now before everybody starts going, because usually when shows are ending, people forget there's like goodbyes and stuff. Next Tuesday, I have my 1-year anniversary YouTube show along with the 2,000 subscriber giveaway. There is going to be a ton of stuff going on, a lot of books being given out, Pressable Defects, Dan De La Torre, Zor's Tiger, myself, I believe Hyper, I believe Face, a bunch of people are giving some stuff away. We got some eBay cards, all of that. So be on the lookout for that. Again, people have been asking me, hey, why didn't you do a video? How can I get in? I'm trying to give back to the people that support, the people that watch. So all the books are going to be given away live, okay? So you have to be live on the show. Throw a like, throw a comment, whatever. But you have to be live. We want to give back to the people that watch. So that is next Tuesday, 9:30. That show is going to be a lot of fun. You guys can catch me, Face, Hype, possibly Keys. We don't know. Sundays and Tuesdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's all I got to say. Face, where can people find you? What do you got going on your channel?
Next week on Monday at 7 o'clock, previously on, you can catch us on there over on my channel. And actually, I believe, I think next week I'm on both of your shows next week. So busy week next week.
Yeah, it's busy week. Best course saying you're not escaping that name anytime soon.
I just want to say something really quick. I want to say fuck you, Best Core, fuck you, Amateur Comic Fan, and Kamikaze, you're cool. Okay, go.
All right. Well, with that said, Chris, I want to thank you so much. Let the people know where they can find you. I know you got some free time coming, so you're going to be doing a little bit more on YouTube. Also,
absolutely.
Don't be shy. Show off. You do have a lot of hot books. You're a great collector, great investor. But yeah, let the people know what's going on with your channel.
I don't really have a lot of plans at the moment, but I just got off. As you know, I work in the film industry, and I was working on like 7 shows at the same time, so I haven't had a lot of chances to make videos. But now I'm kind of on part-time for the next 3 months, and I'm going to kick the shit out of YouTube. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm probably just going to do guest appearances with other friends and stuff like this, and just kind of do some more comic chat. But I have a lot of CGC books coming back over the next 6 weeks. Really cool stuff. And obviously you'll be involved in that. Face, you can come too. I'd love to have you. And we're just going to do kind of like comic unboxings, man.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
Face just did an unboxing last Sunday when we were doing our new comic book day. He was just like unboxing books. We didn't even know about it. He was like, guys, are we going to talk about the books I got? And
shit. I have to go check that out. That's awesome. So yeah, I'll be doing that. So check my channel out, Vancouver Comic Junkie. Come on by, say hi, and hit me up on IG. And if you got any problems with what I said, or you really like what I said, hit me up too, man. I love talking comics. Whatever you want. Yeah.
And if you want his address for hate mail, it's 164. No, I don't even know his address. I don't know.
Oh. I started getting a little stressed out there. Wait a minute, I got kids, man.
He was like, wait, how did he get my address?
I have sent you things.
I saw it in his face. Guys, had a lot of fun. I was hoping that YouTube didn't screw up, but hey, it happens, I guess.
The hyper effect.
Yeah, the hyper effect. But yeah, a lot of fun on the show. We'll see you guys Sunday and Tuesday for the big show. I do have a surprise video dropping on Thursday, but you're going to have to tune in and to see. But I got a surprise video on Thursday. I think everybody is going to be really happy with it. But that's all I can say. You guys know the deal. I'll see you guys later, and thanks for tuning in.
Bye, guys.